Welcome back to Steve and Abby English. I am Steve.
And I'm Abby. Thank you for hanging out with us again. We always love seeing our returning listeners in the comments.
Absolutely. I am so pumped for today's episode. We have a fun, classic debate for you today. The ultimate weekend dilemma.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going. We are talking about how to spend your days off.
Exactly. Are you the type of person who wants to wake up early, break a sweat in nature, and hike a mountain?
Or are you more like me? Do you prefer to sleep in, grab an iced latte, and take it easy exploring the city streets?
We definitely have completely opposite vibes when it comes to planning the weekend.
We really do. But real quick before we start, we talk at a pretty normal, natural speed on this show. If it feels like we are speaking a little too fast, do not be hard on yourself. That is completely normal.
For sure. Keeping up with native speakers can feel a bit overwhelming at first.
Exactly. If you are worried about missing some of our fast, everyday phrases today, you should absolutely grab the free full-text transcript. It is linked right down in the show description below. Having the text makes a huge difference.
That is a great piece of advice. You can read along, highlight the new phrasal verbs, and review them later. It is a game changer for building your muscle memory. So go download that free full-text transcript right now.
Okay, back to the topic. I feel like many people feel pressure to do something active on the weekends.
Well, pushing yourself physically is just the best way to decompress after sitting at a desk all week.
See, I totally disagree. I'm spending way too much mental energy from Monday to Friday. By Saturday, I just want to chill out, look at some nice architecture, and eat a pastry.
That sounds nice too, I have to admit. But I still feel like I waste my day if I do not get my heart rate up.
You schedule your fun way too strictly. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. You might end up finding something amazing without trying.
I guess that is a fair point. I just really enjoy having a solid, reliable plan.
I know you do. But maybe my recent weekend will change your mind. All right, let's jump right into today's first real talk so I can show you my perspective. So, this past Saturday was exactly what I needed. I was feeling super burned out from staring at my computer all week, so I texted a few of my girlfriends. We decided to meet up downtown without any real itinerary. We were just going to wander around and see what happened.
I love days like that. Very low stress.
Exactly. We really just needed to hang out and catch up on each other's lives. We were walking down the main avenue, looking in all the fun store windows, when we realized we were completely lost. We had taken a wrong turn down this weird, narrow alleyway.
Oh no, classic mistake.
Right? At first, I was a little worried because it looked like a dead end, but then we smelled this absolutely amazing scent of fresh bread and sugar. We decided to just follow our noses down the street.
Wait, I actually love getting lost in the city. You always find the most random, cool places when you are not even looking for them.
That is exactly what happened to us. Tucked away behind this huge old brick building, there was this tiny, beautiful cafe. It had string lights and tons of green plants outside. We knew we had to check out the menu.
Nice. What kind of place was it?
It turned out to be this hidden artisan bakery that we had never even heard of. We were looking at all the fresh pastries, and I ended up buying way too much food. I got a massive almond croissant and this incredibly fancy vanilla latte.
A good vanilla latte is an absolute must.
Obviously, the presentation was just so perfect. We ended up sitting outside on their little patio for almost 2 full hours. We were taking all these cute photos with our drinks, just laughing and sharing stories about our week.
That actually sounds like a really great way to spend a Saturday afternoon. Just relaxing.
It really was. There was zero pressure to be anywhere or do anything specific. We just sat there, enjoying the warm sun. And honestly, discovering that hidden bakery made the whole afternoon feel like a fun mini adventure.
It is a good thing you got lost then.
Seriously, if we had stuck to a strict plan, we would have just gone to the same boring coffee shop we always go to. Sometimes the best moments happen when you just let yourself drift a bit.
I guess I can see the appeal of that. No schedule, no rushing around.
Exactly. It was the perfect reset for my brain. By the time I left the cafe, I felt completely recharged and ready for the week. Plus, I have some great photos for my social media.
I bet you do. So, did you just go home after the coffee shop?
Actually, no. While we were sitting on the patio, we noticed a small crowd gathering down the street. We decided to pack up our stuff and see what was going on. It turned out to be a pop-up farmer's market.
Oh, I absolutely love those outdoor markets.
Me too! They had all these little white tents set up. We were just browsing the different stalls, and I ended up talking to this lovely older woman selling homemade preserves. She let me taste test everything.
Danger zone. I know exactly where this is going.
You absolutely do. I lost all my self-control. I ended up buying way too much jam. I bought strawberry, peach, and this weird but amazing spicy pepper jelly. My tote bag was so heavy by the end.
Wait, I did the exact same thing last Tuesday. I bought 4 heavy jars of local honey, and my arms were completely exhausted carrying them.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Yeah, my shoulder was aching all the way to the subway train. But honestly, it was totally worth the pain. The peach jam is incredible. We finally made it back home just as the sun was setting.
Hold on, before we go further, you just used some great words there. Let's get into our real talk breakdown. All right, let's break down some of the excellent vocabulary Abby just used in her story. The very first phrase I noticed was wander around. You said you were just going to wander around downtown.
Yes. In a typical textbook, you might learn the word explore or navigate, but wander around has a much more relaxed, casual vibe to it. It means you are walking without any specific destination or strict purpose. You are just seeing where your feet take you.
Exactly. It feels very stress-free. Using a friendly phrase like this makes you sound so much more natural and human, rather than sounding like a robotic travel guide. My example would be, on Sunday mornings, I really like to wander around the park with my dog.
That is a great one. My example is, we had an extra hour before our dinner reservation, so we just wandered around the neighborhood. It is completely normal if these phrasal verbs feel slightly challenging at first. Just take it one phrase at a time.
Great advice. The next phrase you used was catch up. You mentioned that you and your friends needed to catch up on each other's lives.
Right. Instead of saying exchange recent information or converse formally, we always use catch up. It has this incredibly warm, friendly feeling attached to it. It means you have not seen someone in a while and you want to hear all their new life updates.
It is such a high-frequency phrase. You will hear native speakers use it constantly in daily life. Here is my example. Hey, it has been so long. Let's grab lunch and catch up this weekend.
Perfect. And my example would be, I spent an hour on the phone catching up with my mom last night. Do not be afraid to try using this with your English-speaking friends. They will definitely understand you.
For sure. The last phrase we pulled from your story is check out. You said you knew you had to check out the menu at that tiny hidden bakery.
Yes, this is a huge one. Check out simply means to look at something, examine it, or visit a place to see what it is like. It is way less formal than saying inspect or investigate. It shows curiosity.
It really does. It is perfect for casual weekend plans. My example sentence is, I heard there is a new bookstore downtown. We should really check it out tomorrow.
I love that. My example is, you have to check out this new song I found. It is so incredibly good. Remembering all these little everyday phrases takes time, so please do not beat yourself up if you forget them sometimes.
Building that muscle memory definitely takes time. Okay, now that we have got those words down, let's look at the flip side in real talk too. Alright, so my weekend looked a little bit different than yours. While you were happily sleeping in on Saturday, I was actually setting my loud alarm for 5 in the morning on Sunday. My buddy Mark and I had planned this really intense, challenging mountain hike.
5 in the morning on a weekend? That sounds absolutely gross to me. I would never voluntarily do that.
I know, it sounds pretty brutal to most people, but we really wanted to beat the crowds in the afternoon heat. So I picked Mark up and we drove out to the state park. The weather was perfect, but Mark was already complaining about being sleepy.
Typical Mark.
Seriously. Anyway, we started walking the trail around 6:30 in the morning. The first mile was pretty flat and easy, just walking through the quiet pine trees. But then we hit the second mile, and the elevation completely changed. It became incredibly steep and rocky.
Oh, wow. That sounds so exhausting.
It was tough, and to make matters worse, it suddenly started drizzling cold rain. The rocks got super slippery and dangerous. About halfway up this huge rocky section, Mark just stopped and sat down on a wet boulder. He was totally out of breath and sweating through his jacket.
Honestly, I would have bailed right then and there. Hiking uphill in the cold rain is literally my absolute worst nightmare.
It definitely tests your patience. He looked at me and said he wanted to give up and head back down to the car. But I gave him a bottle of water and a protein bar. I told him we just needed to push through this difficult section.
That was nice of you to be so encouraging.
I tried my best to motivate him. I promised him the view would be worth the pain. It took some convincing, but he finally stood back up. We took it super slow, just putting one foot in front of the other carefully on the wet rocks.
You guys are brave.
Our leg muscles were absolutely burning by the time we cleared the tree line. But when we finally made it to the top, the view was unbelievable. You could see the entire green valley and the lake down below. The rain stopped and the sun came out.
See, that does sound really rewarding. I love a good view. Did you take any cool photos up there?
Oh, we took tons of photos. Mark completely forgot about being tired. We just sat there on the summit for an hour taking it all in. But the best part of the whole trip actually happened after we carefully hiked all the way back down to the car.
Let me guess. You guys went to go get a massive amount of food?
You know it! We were both absolutely starving, so we drove straight to this tiny, run-down roadside diner near the highway. We ordered the biggest bacon cheeseburgers on the menu, plus a huge plate of crispy fries.
Now you are speaking my language. Burgers fix absolutely everything.
They really do. We were sitting in this cozy booth, covered in mud and dirt, just eating these massive burgers and feeling incredibly accomplished. Mark even admitted he was really glad I made him push through the hardest part. It was honestly the perfect Sunday.
That is such a totally different vibe from my weekend. But wait, I heard you drop some interesting phrases. Time for our second Real Talk breakdown.
Let's look at the vocabulary from my hiking story. The first phrase I want to highlight is beat the crowds. I mentioned that Mark and I woke up at 5 in the morning just to beat the crowds.
Yes, that is a fantastic phrase. Instead of saying something very formal like arrive before the majority of people, native speakers simply say beat the crowds. It describes that specific feeling of getting somewhere early so you can actually enjoy the space in peace, without long lines or heavy traffic.
Exactly. It feels very strategic and satisfying. My example would be, we decided to go to the grocery store at 7 on a Sunday morning just to beat the crowds.
That is a very smart plan. I hate waiting in lines. My example is, if we want to get a good spot at the beach, we really need to leave now and beat the crowds. It might feel strange using these colorful idioms at first, but that is completely normal.
Absolutely. Taking on new phrases is a process. The second word I noticed was actually from you, Abby. You said you would have bailed when it started raining on the hike.
I definitely would have. To bail is a super common, casual way to say you are abandoning a plan, leaving a place early, or giving up on something because it is getting too difficult or uncomfortable. It is so much more natural than saying, I would have departed prematurely.
It really paints a picture of escaping a bad situation. Here is my example. The movie was incredibly boring, so we just bailed halfway through and got dinner instead.
Good call. Here is my example. I was feeling really tired after work, so I bailed on the gym and just went straight to sleep. Do not be hard on yourself if you forget to use it right away. Building up to this casual level takes a lot of time.
It really does. Our final phrase today is push through. I told Mark we just needed to push through the difficult, rainy section of the trail.
This is such a great motivational phrase. Instead of saying endure the difficulty or continue with effort, push through gives this physical image of fighting against resistance. You are tired, but you are not stopping.
Perfectly explained. My example sentence is, I had a terrible headache yesterday, but I had to push through and finish my presentation for work.
That is so relatable. My example is, the last mile of my run is always the hardest, but I just try to push through it.
We have covered some great expressions today, but there are a few sneaky traps you need to watch out for. Let's jump into common mistakes and make sure you do not get them wrong. Now, let's talk about where people usually get this wrong. These casual phrases are great, but there are a few common traps.
Oh, definitely. The first big mistake I hear all the time is with the phrase catch up. People often say, I need to catch up, my friend.
Right, that is the trap. You are missing a very important little word. You should actually say, I need to catch up with my friend.
Exactly! You always need that word with when you are talking about a person. You catch up with someone.
Spot on. The second mistake is with the phrase check out. A lot of learners try to add extra prepositions. They will say, we should check out about that new cafe.
Yes, I hear that a lot. But the fix is super simple. Just drop the about. You should say, we should check out that new cafe.
Check out already means to look at or investigate, so you do not need any extra words getting in the way. Just put the place right after the phrase.
Makes total sense. What is the last mistake, Steve?
It is a tricky one with the word bail. People often say, I bailed from the party because I was tired.
Ah, I see the trap. They use the word from. But you actually need to say, I bailed on the party.
Exactly. When you cancel plans or leave a situation, you bail on it. You bail on a person or a plan.
Let's do a really quick rapid review. Do not say catch up, my friend. Say catch up with my friend.
Do not say check out about the cafe. Say check out the cafe.
And do not say bail from the party. Say bail on the party.
And that is how you use them in the wild. But how does that compare to what you learned in school? Let's check out textbook versus real life. Welcome to Textbook versus Real Life. Textbook English is 100% understandable. So please do not be hard on yourself if you still sound a little formal. It is all part of the journey. But here are 5 great ways to sound more like a local. Let's start with number 1. I walked in the city without a specific destination.
I just wandered around the city. Native speakers always prefer short phrasal verbs over long, clunky descriptions.
That is so true. Here is number 2. We must arrive at the park early to avoid all the people.
We need to leave early to beat the crowds. This idiom paints a really fun, clear picture of a race against other tourists.
Exactly. Moving to number 3. I canceled my participation in the difficult mountain hike.
I just bailed on the hike. Using the word bail is so much faster and sounds incredibly casual when talking to friends.
Number 4. I was very exhausted and I could not breathe easily.
I was totally out of breath. We use this exact physical description all the time to show we are tired.
And finally, number 5. I ate a very large hamburger at the restaurant.
I ordered a massive burger. Switching out very large for massive just adds so much more natural emotion and flavor to your story.
All right, you have heard us talk enough for one episode. It is time for you to build that muscle memory. Let's jump into the shadowing practice. Before we start, here is a quick but important pro tip. Make sure you hit the pause button after you hear each sentence today. That way you can repeat it out loud at your own comfortable pace.
Our first sentence today is absolutely perfect for when you want to hear your friend's new life updates. Listen and repeat.
I need to catch up with you.
I need to catch up with you. Moving on to the second one. You can use this casual phrase when you want to walk around a new place with no strict plans. Here we go.
We just like to wander around.
We just like to wander around. And our final expression is great for those moments when you are tired, but you cannot quit quite yet. Listen and repeat.
You just have to push through.
You just have to push through.
Great job today. Let's wrap things up with some final thoughts.
Today, we learned how to talk about your weekend plans using real, natural English.
Remember, learning a language takes time. Some days will feel slow, but every single time you show up in practice, you are moving forward. Stay consistent, stay curious, and trust the process.
If this episode helped you, please hit the like button. It only takes 2 seconds and genuinely helps us reach more learners just like you.
Please subscribe for new episodes every single week. So, are you a city walker or a mountain hiker? Tell us down in the comments.
Thank you so much for your time. Click on the next video to keep leveling up your English.